That was me to Blaze whenever he came back from the portal. My man. How's
What's
it
up,
going?
brother?
Oh, you
Feeling
know.
good.
Sitting here talking ball. Sure, and while I have you here, an interesting list came out just 8 minutes ago. Top 25 college football coaches per On3. Just
You
dropped.
got a link for it?
I'll send it
It's
to you
on
right
Twitter?
now. Yep. This is going to excite Bama fans.
Mm-hmm.
So at number 1, you got Kirby. You're not going to hear a peep from me on that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, listen, I know that there are people in here that, they don't like Georgia. I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. If you're asking me top college football coaches, Kirby would be the first one out of my mouth.
100%. And
Kirby's Kirby.
shouldn't be no argument. Honestly, you look at now. What I will say is this, though, Ty. You talking about just overall coach, right? You're not talking about schematics, just coach. The guy that no matter what you're dealing with, where you looking at, he gonna make you think about playing for him. That's Kirby Smart. Number one, yeah, no questions asked. No questions asked.
No, Ryan, they had, he said, I'm guessing Kirby too. Kirby was 1, and I'd put Kirby at 1, right? Like, there's no doubt about that. Number 2, you have Brian Kelly. Number 3, Kalen DeBoer. Number 4, Ryan Day. Number 5, Steve Sarkisian. Number 6, Dabo. At 7, Mike Norvell. At 8, one of my favorite coaches in the nation, ladies and gentlemen, and actually, Smook, I'd be kind of happy if Curtis Perry transferred to Utah to play under Kyle Whittingham in the Big 12, because, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Whittingham is one of the most underrated coaches in the nation. KJ says Brian Kelly over Sark. Well, if KJ, would you then put DeBoer over Brian Kelly? Because you can't put Sark over DeBoer. Sark has had the more talented team twice and gotten beat twice against DeBoer.
Right. And
maybe he said that and I just missed it.
And Sark hasn't closed out the Big 12. I mean, outright yet. You get what I'm saying? Like, it took Oklahoma losing a game that they weren't supposed to lose for them. Because what did Texas do? They almost dropped. They dropped the bag against Oklahoma, and they had the more talented team.
Well, I hear you, KJ, but that's not my question. My question is, would you then put Kalen DeBoer over Brian Kelly? Because if your argument is Steve Sarkisian should go over Brian Kelly, then wouldn't it stand to reason that Kalen DeBoer would actually be number 2 because they played each other twice? Sark has had the more talented team both times, and he's lost both times. Okay, I didn't see. No, I was just making sure we're all on the same page. Then I agree with you. I actually do agree with you, KJ. You and I are in lockstep. I was just making sure that I was reading. Okay, that's my fault. I didn't see your comment, man. Sometimes the undefeated is undefeated, and comments go crazy. So I was just making sure I was understanding. That's my fault. Kyle Whittingham at 8, and I understand, like, it's one of those things, like, who are you going to put him over?
Right.
I'm just really biased to Kyle Whittingham, ladies and gentlemen. I think he's a hell of a coach. I really think he's a hell of a coach. I would put DeBoer at 2.
Not yet. I want to see him do it in the SEC. If he could come in the SEC and get to the playoffs and make, not even, if he could win the SEC this year, right? He goes up to number 2. If he gets to the playoffs and is playing for a national championship for a second year in a row under at a new program in his first year, he's going to number 1. He goes above Kirby. And that's you. If he goes to the national championship this year, Kyle, Ty.
Not all white people look alike, except Kyle and I look alike. That's terrible.
I'm looking at Kalen, I'm looking at Kirby, I'm talking to Ty. So the Kais and all of that's coming together. But if Kalen DeBoer goes into this year, and I mean, even if he runs the table and falls one game short again, man, you have to start feeling. You feel more confident about him taking over college football than when Kirby came in, because there's nobody that's outright locking down college football right now. Kirby wasn't even playing for the national championship last year. Jim Harbaugh and Kalen DeBoer were. And the coach that kept Kirby from going to the playoffs is retired now. And we haven't seen them play against a fully notched team since that loss. They went against Mike Norville and a team of walk-ons in a bowl game. So I
can answer
that. I think Kalen DeBoer makes a real good case to be right there where he's at. I like where he is right now, but this year, imagine that 12-0, playoff push. National championship. If he wins a national championship, he's number one, bro. I'm just saying.
So I can answer this, Jermaine. Fake Southern accents. That's what he does better. Fake Southern accents, right?
That's about it. Because he's not recruiting better than them.
And what a fake Southern accent it was. Beautiful.
Oh, he gave that junk up quick. That might have been last off season.
Darius says, and this is, I wanted to talk about this, Darius. This is one that I think I'm actually surprised I haven't seen more pushback from the undefeated on this. Saying Dabo Swinney has 2 national championships and 4 national championship appearances, and he's under Ryan Day, Steve Sarkisian. Now, Darius, the only reason why I'm not saying a peep about it, it's because Dabo's refusal to adapt to the current landscape of college football has been his undoing.
That's been his diminishing. That's what Coach Saban, that's why I feel like played a part in Coach Saban retiring. When he talk about legacy and how you want to leave the game, Coach Saban has always told us the moment he feels like he's not affecting the game for better, he's not affecting change for these young men to create more value for them, to help them get to the next level in life and still able to win, coach winning football, that's when he'll bow out. And we saw signs of that this past season. How much he had to manage the game, how much he had to manage coaches, how much he had to manage personnel, how much he had to manage recruiting. Like, it became a lot. And it wasn't as effective as it was 6-7 years ago, right before it started changing drastically like it is now. So that's what's happened with Dabo. And now you start to see where he's figuring that out now. He's just not getting that message. Like, it's time for me to change. Slowly but surely.
Yeah, that's the only reason whenever I look at this list why I'm not mad about Dabo. Right? It's because his refusal to change has been his undoing, and life is about change. Certainly, college football is about change, right? Yep. So, interesting list. Kleiman at 16.
Yeah.
He's a heck of a coach, man. I'd put him over Gundy.
I put him over Franklin.
Ooh.
I mean, James Franklin at 13 is not. I'm not feeling James Franklin. I think James Franklin is more deserving of maybe 19, where Kirk is right in front of Kirk. Luke Fickell, I feel like, is a better coach. Josh Heupel is a better coach to me. Chris Kleiman, Jamie at Liberty. Really like we see what Chris Kleiman is one of those guys. He's respected across, college football, the landscape as a whole. But he can coach, man. He can coach. He doesn't have much to work with. He's not filled with 4 stars and 5 stars, but those guys compete year in and year out, since they've been under. The culture is even different under him. So I like what he's doing out there. He to me should be ahead of James Franklin.
I don't disagree with you on that.